welcome to another episode of the Tipped Balls Podcast. I am your host, Sam Randazzo, and I am joined today by my two rather rotund co-hosts. To my right, it is the one and only Uncle Sam.
Hello.
And behind the computer making us sound just perfect.
Fabulous,
fantastic. It is Bruce, the tugboat, Venditti.
what up?
You know, I have a few things to say before we get
Oh,
going
we're
here.
going right off the cuff here,
Right
okay?
off the
Sorry,
rip.
Let's go.
Right off. the rip.
I'm a little upset about the few hundred pounds that the camera has given me, so I don't know if I like the video portion of this podcast.
Listen,
Well, they say the camera adds 10 pounds.
well, I think
It's more like 150.
well, you have to remember, for like a 150-pound person, it adds 10 pounds. So when you're like 275, it adds like 30.
250.
A bit north of 250.
Well,
250.
he was
Bit
talking about his neck roll. It was when
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at myself all bent over, shrugged over, and I didn't know where my neck was.
It looked like a whole
was
loaf
gone.
of bread back there
It was
above your
gone.
back. Yeah.
It was terrible.
No, I mean, you don't have much neck to begin with.
Yes, I know.
It's about 2 inches tall and about 20 inches wide.
I know.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Well,
But anyway, let's move on. Sorry I had to.
I
bring it up.
think you look gorgeous today, as do you, Bruce, with your little flipped hair and pink
Nobody's
face.
hotter than Bruce.
Nobody's
Bruce,
sexier
I
than
gotta get a
Bruce,
haircut.
I would have to say our live episode was Bruce's best episode. He was about 8 beers in,
Yeah.
and my man was just done.
Well, when you
It was
drink a 12-pack of Labatt Blue Light
That was
before
it.
you record a show, yeah.
He was awesome. He was loud, proud, and just he was a lot of fun.
Well,
I actually
for the small
gained a
amount
lot of
that I was
respect for
actually
you.
in.
and I was really impressed.
I'm shocked.
I was.
Giving me props.
And shout out to Joseph the Swayer. Joseph Venditti the Swayer.
He's got the sweat.
I've never seen anybody sway so much in my life. I thought a big gust of wind was going to come through and put him down.
well, after 10 old fashions, yeah,
Oh, my
you're gonna be like
God.
you're gonna be like the Empire State Building in a
But
high
anyway.
wind advisory.
Anyway,
and then Ma dropped that glass of wine on him.
Yeah, it was.
Ruined a brand new.
you know, some
Barry
people were
Sanders
spilling
jersey.
things all night. So, anyway,
Anyways, well, I think Bruce was loud, proud, and excited for some other reasons.
he was excellent. He really was.
Well,
I don't know if it was the weed pen and
I was not high. There.
okay, a
but
mixture of that and
I think it
beers.
was a mixture of the 12-pack of Labatt.
he drank
And-
a whole 12-pack by himself. I
Pretty
don't
much,
believe that.
Yeah. And
I just kept
the
putting
fact
the boys down.
Yeah.
that his Detroit Lions had an absolutely fantastic evening.
I've never seen him so angry in my life.
That's
Okay.
because I was drunk. But I mean,
You blurted out the F word. It was something else.
Well, let's be real here. All in all, Detroit Lions had a pretty decent night. And you know what? There were a lot of teams that we didn't really expect to have a decent night that had a way better than decent night. Teams that historically don't really do well in this spot seem to kind of turn it around.
That is true. I mean, I couldn't. There was 2 teams that really stood out for me. One is the top half of the Giants draft with Thibodeau and Evan Neal.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, you know, they got the most versatile lineman and the best pass rusher in the draft.
Oh,
And them 2 picks. They got 2 starters from day one.
I mean,
And I thought they did a great job.
the Giants came out of round 1 with 2 guys who realistically could have went number 1 overall, and I don't think anybody
Right.
would have really batted
Right.
an eye at it, right?
In
Kayvon
the top
Thibodeau,
7 picks, they get 2 guys that could have went first overall.
right? We never expected Thibodeau to go number 1 overall, but we all agree here that fundamentally and talent-wise, he could have went number 1 overall. And on the other side, Evan Neal, a month or 2 ago, was a consensus number 1 overall pick.
Yes.
Before the Jaguars locked up Cam Robinson and kind of took themselves out of contention for an offensive lineman with that first pick, he was supposed to go number 1 overall.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think they made a mistake there. I would have went the lineman if I was them. They can't have enough help to protect a basically a second-year quarterback and a decimated. Their offensive line was awful last year.
Yes.
And I don't think depth ever hurts a team that wants to go be successful in this league, you have to have a good offensive line.
Is drafting an offensive lineman sexy?
No, but it'll keep your job if you're a coach.
Is drafting Trayvon Walker first overall sexy?
Yes and no. Yes and no.
Yes.
I always think defensive ends going that high, I get the need. You can never have enough pass rushers, just like you can never have enough good offensive linemen.
When you have the opportunity to put defensive Josh Allen and Tavon Walker on the same line, you do it.
It's a nice combination.
I mean, my God, is that a pretty combination? Outside of the Jaguars, all right, Bruce asked for like 5 minutes of silence from us so he can go on a rant about the Lions. We're going to get to that in a second. Before we do that, I want to talk about the Texans pick. Because for me personally,
the Stingley pick, I was
kind of surprised by that. Okay. Is Derek Stingley an extremely good football player? Is he very talented? Yes. In all reality, I think it's a toss-up between him and Gardner for the best cornerback in this draft. Developmentally wise, Stingley could develop into a better player. I think his ceiling is taller than Gardner's. I think we've already seen a lot of Sauce Gardner's ceiling.
I don't think we've seen Gardner's ceiling at all. I think he'll be a lot better as a pro.
Regardless, you know how I feel about taking. Yeah. I've made
corners that high. I
clear.
get it.
You don't take a corner in the top 5 unless he's going to be Deion Sanders.
Unless he's Jeff Okudah.
Please.
Anyway.
So.
Not go there.
I don't understand, especially for them, the Stingley pick, when you still have Ekwonu, Evan Neal out there.
And Kayvon Thibodeau.
And you still had Thibodeau out there.
And you're going to pass over those guys.
Yeah. That one for me.
That threw a loop big time. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think the Texans secondary was that bad.
No.
I don't think they were that bad. Their offense
is atrocious.
Was horrible because they couldn't protect Davis
Mills is still going to be running for his life. So at the end of the day, they did take a lineman at 15.
Yeah. Okay.
Great. But I'd be hard-pressed to believe if they take Ekwonu or Evan Neal with 3, they wouldn't have gotten near same production, at least the first few years, out of who's a corner that went around there. Trent McDuffie.
Somebody of that caliber.
I know there's other corners that went right there. I mean, Trent McDuffie didn't go till 20.
Right. But they could have took him higher. I had McDuffie going higher than that.
If they would have taken him at 15 and you take Evan Neal or Ekwonu, I think at
you're
least
better off.
For me, you're better off because you're getting the best lineman in the draft.
Right.
I don't think that the difference between Stingley and McDuffie is nearly as wide as the difference between Ekwonu or Neal and Keon
Green?
Keon Green.
He's actually an inside guy, not an outside guy. He's a guard, not a tackle.
Either way.
Right. I know. It doesn't matter. You could take Evan Neal and push him inside and let him play guard if you wanted.
And you know what the whole thing is they wanted Keon Green there.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I would have went Zion Johnson before I would have taken him.
Yeah.
And I would have, if I needed offensive line help, I would have taken Trevor Penning before him. So we had some locks in this that we picked for this draft. Ahmad Gardner to the Jets was a lock. There was no question in my mind that was going to happen. But our Chargers passed up on your boy Trevor Penning, and I was really surprised by that.
A huge mistake.
Yeah, I was shocked by that one because we all were in agreement for that the whole time that Trevor Penning was going to end up in L.A.
They've been taking Penning since the Senior Bowl was done.
Right.
And I don't know why they veered away from that. But he did go high. He still went high.
Some other shockers. We're going to talk about the Eagles a little bit more. But I think the Eagles did a really good job. They're my winners of this draft.
Outside of the Jets, I think the Eagles did the best job.
Yeah, I can't argue that. And you know what? I'll be honest with you. After the first night, I was ready to give Green Bay a fucking D-.
You know what? I loved what they did.
But they came back on day 2 and made sense of it all.
And that's it.
They
But look
made
at what
sense
they
of it
did,
all.
though. They took 2 premier defensive players in this draft and then turn around and grab listen to me. Christian Watson is going to be a superstar in Green
I
Bay.
agree.
He's going to be a superstar.
I agree.
Aaron Rodgers is going to make this guy look like Calvin Johnson.
And they didn't have to take him on day one.
Yeah. They
Mm-hmm.
solidified the holes on the defense.
Right.
That's where they had the holes.
So, and then the only quarterback that went in the first 2 rounds was Kenny Pickett to the Steelers.
And poor Kenny Pickett, he looked like Aaron Rodgers sitting there in the green room. I felt so bad for him. I felt so bad for him.
So they got their guy. Thankfully, hopefully we don't have to see Mitchell Trubisky for a full year this year. But we need to talk about the elephant in the room.
The pink elephant in the room, Bruce.
Well, did you guys see who the Lions ended up taking in the day 2?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Josh Pascal?
And then you.
Yes.
You don't like the Josh Pascal pick?
So-
I said, real quick, the elephant in the room is obviously Malik Willis. So,
Well,
okay, I mean, hold on. This was a guy who everybody said, oh, he could go at 2. He could go at 9. You know, if somehow he makes it to Pittsburgh in New Orleans, he's going there.
if he makes it
all over the board.
to 32,
If he
Detroit
makes
was
it to
going to
32,
take him.
it'll
Give
be
me
the
a
biggest
break.
steal of the draft for Detroit. And then all of a sudden, it was like a fucking
Round 2 went
California
by.
mudslide.
Round 3 went by,
And everybody was like,
and everybody,
Well, that was the whole
Malik
thing.
Willis was still there.
I was watching round 3. And can you search and see? I don't even know what pick did he go.
Well, all I know is
He was in the hundreds,
he
right?
went to Tennessee.
Right.
Which is a shocker. In my
Where
opinion.
did he go? What pick was he? So he went 86. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching this and I'm like, at this point,
This is what happens.
why
when-
are you? Why is anybody passing him up?
Why
If he is as good as okay,
people think he's going to be?
well, yeah, because I mean, you watched.
Oh, he's
all
got
the
a
film
cannon
on
for
him.
an arm. Yeah.
I mean, my man, you compared his arm strength to Josh Allen.
Here's the problem with him. Like I told you, one pass looks absolutely incredible. The next one's 5 yards into the stand. So if you don't have that kind of control, now I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He played at Liberty. Okay? It's not like he played in the SEC.
Okay, but let's be real about this. Even if he ends up coming, I mean, Jameis Winston, cannon of an arm, horribly inaccurate. Even if he comes to the league like that, Jameis Winston was a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
So for me,
The only thing Jameis Winston had a problem with is seafood
the law. Yeah.
and the law. Yeah.
Well,
For me,
his ceiling might be way higher just because he isn't coming.
Well,
up.
yeah, but Jameis Winston
right
also
off the
played at
bat.
Florida State, not at Liberty.
I'll say
So
this.
that's the difference.
I'll say this. That for me told me everything. Obviously, somebody knows something or somebody saw something that made this guy like a rat trap to a mouse.
Yeah.
That he wouldn't even nobody'd even come close to him.
There was a lot of guys that dropped in this draft.
Well,
Huge.
I was just blown away. Obviously, there were a lot of guys that went in the first round that I don't think a lot of people thought were going to go in the first round. Cole Strange.
That's Bill Belichick at his best.
Well, did you see the video of Sean McVay saying, "Oh, we thought we could get him at 90 whatever," and
Yeah.
the Patriots
Well,
took him in the
looks
first
like he
round?
was wrong.
For that.
Quay Walker was one of those borderline guys.
Yeah, he was
And Green Bay
borderline
saw him and jumped
first
right on
round,
him.
second round.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
think he was going to go round 1.
I didn't think he was going to go round 2. I had him going round 3.
Yeah, I
By
didn't
Walker,
think,
because they were so deep at linebacker.
the cornerback Elam that went to the Bills, I didn't think he was going to go
Devin
round
Lloyd.
1.
Can you believe Devin Lloyd dropped the way he did?
That one
when
surprised
Quay
me.
Walker went in front of Devin Lloyd, I was just like, wow.
You know, 26. The Jets ended up with Jermaine Johnson.
That is a huge value. I think getting Thibodeau at 5 is equal value of getting him at where you got him.
Oh yeah.
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 I mean, that's huge for the Packers.
Before we
Huge.
get into the Jets, I want Bruce to give us his thoughts on the Lions, and we'll just let him go through it and give him our thoughts
Okay.
here in a minute. So,
Yeah. Shoot, Bruce.
Tugger,
All right.
take it away.
I think, well, I'm gonna give them an A+ for the draft because what we said was they bolstered their defense, and that's kind of what they did, right? All right, so let me go through. At 1, you take Aiden Hutchinson. 2, you take wide receiver Jameis Williams. Then you take an edge, Josh Paschal from Kentucky. 3, you take safety Kirby Joseph out of Illinois. 5, you take tight end James Mitchell out of Virginia Tech. 6, linebacker Malcolm Rodriguez, who I'm a big fan of, but I'll tell you why in a minute. Then they go back to an edge, James Houston, Jackson State. And at 7, cornerback Chase Lucas out of Arizona State. Now, the one out of all of these I was absolutely in love with was this linebacker, Malcolm Rodriguez. Because he's short, but stocky as hell. And he can fly. He's fast. I was watching tape, and he can stuff the run like a motherfucker. He is running up there, and he is making plays.
Well, out of everything the Lions needed, they needed.
He's also a cancer survivor.
He is. I saw that too.
5.5 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks. He's very versatile.
You know what they like about? Do you know why they took him?
He'll play linebacker. You will see him.
They're going to have him in a rotation actually on the defensive line.
Well, yeah, he can play all over. He can play all over the line.
I think you're going to see him play a lot of the Aaron Donald 3 technique.
Yeah,
because they're about the same size.
Right,
6'3", he's like 280.
Yeah,
275, 280. So he's similar build to Aaron Donald. He has the Aaron Donald motor. Can they make him into Aaron Donald? That's the key. His hands are really good. He doesn't have a lot of size, but his hands are good. He's compact.
I'll be honest with you. The Lions, like we broke this down multiple times. The Lions needed to strengthen that defensive line. They needed to get some run stop in there.
They took 3 edge. Right.
I mean, okay.
One guy from Jackson State is not a real edge guy. He's more of a linebacker than an edge guy.
Drop back.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But let's be realistic.
He was actually a safety. They made into a linebacker.
They took Aiden Hutchinson.
Same with Malcolm.
And we kind of threw a little bit of a fit.
Well, here's the thing. I wouldn't have had a fit with the Malcolm pick, with the Aiden Hutchinson pick. When they moved up to 12, I'm like, here it is. Jordan Davis. And I was like, this is it. They're serious about really putting this defense ahead. Early ahead. So you bona fide the defense. And then he took a receiver. I don't have a problem with the Williams. I still think to this day he was the best receiver in the draft.
You take all the defense that you need to fill sprinkle.
Well, this is the thing, though.
Spot, and then you grab that wide.
Let me ask you a question. Let's really be serious about this question. Out of all the players they took defensively, you wouldn't have gave up that move up to 12 and grab Jordan Davis and stick him in the middle of that line? He would make high school Anzalone a Pro Bowler. Pro Bowler.
I mean,
because it takes 2 fucking guys to block Jordan Davis. He's an absolute monster. And the Eagles took him. And you know what? Watch and see about that deal.
I think Philly had the best draft out of everybody, but
I agree.
For me, the move of the draft, the pick of the draft, all the above. And I mean, there were some trades that went on. You know, A.J. Brown going to the Eagles. Huge. But the Lions, when is the last time you can sit and think that the Lions actually
rolled the dice?
Never. Pulled the trigger, did something that they needed to do.
Never seen them do it.
They've never, ever done it.
Never.
And Brad Holmes.
The first year I've ever seen. That's why I'm really not upset.
No.
I'm not upset with what they did. In fact, the smart move was to package those 2 picks to go up that high. That's a smart move. It's not a bad move. You're getting 2 of the top, at least a top 10. These guys got 2 of possibly top 5.
Okay. At the end of the day, I was the same way as you. I was like, oh my God, why would they pass on Jordan Davis? if you stop now, let's think about the Lions receiving core at the end of last year versus what they have now.
You can't compare it.
I mean, and at the end of the day, you knew at some point in the draft Green Bay was going to get their receivers.
Correct.
And at the end of the day, the receivers that you give to Aaron Rodgers don't have to be as good as the ones you're going to give to Jared Goff, because Aaron Rodgers
That is very, very true. Very
Number
true.
2.
In fact, you know who else wanted Jameis Williams? Aaron Rodgers.
Absolutely.
Aaron Rodgers wanted him bad.
They I bet you they thought
we
he'd
won't
drop.
see him till probably week 6.
That's okay.
I don't
have
care.
No problem
Put
with
him
that.
on the
care
pup
either.
list to start
Yep,
the season.
I agree. Let him
Listen,
get
the
healthy.
worst thing they could do is rush this kid back,
Yep.
Oh,
and he gets
absolutely.
hurt again,
Absolutely.
And
like Michael Thomas.
But, well, like I said, Jared Goff has the key components to put
Listen,
on a show this
his
year.
receiving core is already better this year than it was last.
oh my God.
Exactly.
I mean, it's miles
Sharp-
miles
Sharp
better.
this is
added
where-
a legitimate weapon to that offense.
Correct.
this year it's like, all right, is Jared Goff actually good as what people say he is?
You want to know? I read a comp, and it was the Lions receiving core right now is what the Bengals were last year. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown in a T. Higgins role. Okay. You have DJ Chark in the Tyler Boyd role. And now
I actually have them reversed because of their physical stature.
well, not but
yeah.
more of the just the role. And now you bring in this rookie who everybody was kind of shaky on due to injury, due to everything else, and you make the move and you just do it. And in all reality, it kind of made sense to me. Like, they have a legitimate receiving core. Green Bay upped their game. They got some decent receivers. Minnesota, we know that they have great receivers. Chicago's a fucking dumpster fire. I think they had one of the worst drafts out of everybody as well.
I actually agree with you on that.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
was
don't know
not
what
impressed
Chicago-
with them.
There were
The
3
Bears.
teams that really made me raise my eyebrows as to what are you doing? New England, Chicago, and Dallas.
Well, here I'm not going to count New England on that because I don't believe for 1 minute they took 2 defensive backs. They took probably the
Quarterback.
fastest receiver in the draft. The fastest receiver in the draft.
Some would debate that would be Jameis Williams.
Or Sky Moore.
You think he's as fast as Tyquan Thornton? Those guys are the relay team there at Baylor.
Okay.
You didn't watch the combine, right?
No,
Yeah, I
didn't
didn't think so.
Either way. I again, this goes back to my rant from a few weeks ago. New England's just trying to be too fucking New England again.
I don't think so. They took an offensive
Hurts.
lineman.
No, it
Did you do any
won 10 games last year?
Did you do any
Well, the first
research
one,
on these
With a rookie
guys that they had picked?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Tell me about I'm sorry, what was his name again? The first guy they took?
Go ahead, tell me.
I
You don't even remember?
I'm drawing a blank.
Okay. Who-
Drawing a blank. I did watch a little bit of shit on him. He's what was he, a 4-year scholar?
Yeah, great.
I mean, he's a smart guy. They took a smart guy.
Got it. Yep.
That's Bill Belichick.
Guess what?
You're going to
Took
take that
Cole
guy who's
Doesn't work.
academically
I don't.
a freaking genius.
Well, the beef jerky, Cam Jurgens,
I love Cam Jurgens.
went to Philly in the 2nd round.
Correct.
If you look at their grades,
They
if you
need
look at the
somebody- they
intangibles,
needed somebody-
Everything else, he was miles above Cole Strange.
Yeah, but I mean, they didn't need a center.
what was the Patriots' biggest need?
Of this year, they need speed at receiver position.
I was just about to
To me, they needed
The
speed at
Patriots
receiver.
need a linebacker. Need it.
No, I don't think so. I think they have linebackers
Who?
there. They're just young.
Well, no, they're old. At the end of the day, where's Devontae Hightower ain't gonna last much longer. He sat out a year because of COVID. He was
Right.
hurt again last year for like the 3rd year in a row. You don't
I thought he came back to be defensive coordinator.
no, he's still playing.
Oh, okay.
He is still playing.
I'm being a smart ass there.
Yeah, I know that'll
Yeah.
happen here.
Because that's what he's going
But
to
at
be
the end of
here
the day,
in another year.
There was so.
They signed a lot of undrafted guys,
I know, and I know,
and
that's
I know
Belichick's
Belichick
MO.
likes to do that.
But guess what? I think I'm going to say it again, and I don't want to get into a debate about it. The league is going to start passing Belichick by at a very rapid rate. Say it.
I don't know.
They bolstered their offensive line by getting a guy.
Okay, I got a question.
Now, was that guy as good as? Let's say, was that guy as good as Penning? No, they're not even in the same room.
I agree.
But this guy is solid. This guy can play guard.
Yeah, but you only took him 3 picks later.
Well, they're going to shove him in at tackle and push. Who's the guy I think is totally awful at still on the offensive line?
Joe Thunley.
No, Mason.
Oh, Shaq Mason.
Shaq Mason.
No, he's on the Buccaneers.
Get out.
Yep.
What, did Brady hire him?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Anyway.
Brady
But-
hire him?
Well, that's what happens.
Well, yeah,
when
Brady-
anybody
Brady
goes to
run-
Tampa, who do you think is running the front office of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? It's Tom
Brady.
fucking Brady.
Of course.
It's nobody else. He suggests something, they do it because they know they can't piss him off or he'll retire.
Because he's the greatest of all time.
Anyway,
Anyway.
it's debatable. Anyway,
I'll say this. Me personally, or roster-wise, okay. The bet that I made for the Patriots to not be a playoff team now, after what the Jets
you
did.
feel pretty confident right now?
Oh, yes. I am so confident right
feel
now.
confident?
Because you know Buffalo's going to win the division, and I'll say this. I'd counter that bet. I bet you the Jets are a 10-win football team.
It's the Jets.
What does that mean?
Go ahead,
always
disagree
the
with
Jets.
me, because I know you can't.
Here's the thing.
I know you can't.
I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't bet on it. I just can't. Just because I think they've gotten that much better.
Oh, so you're agreeing with me?
I agree with you. They've gotten that much better. I think the Breece Hall move and
You loved that.
oh my God, dude.
Yep.
They got 2 stud young running backs.
You got a 2-headed monster,
Carter
Michael
and-
Carter and Breece Hall.
and
now.
Breece Hall. And Breece Hall's an in between the tackle guy, dude. People bounce off of that guy. I love what they did.
I love
Jermaine
everything they
Johnson, come on, dude.
Late.
Late. I'm like, fuck, they didn't even need him.
Like, okay,
They got guys that were hurt last year. They don't even need him. And they took him. What? That's just depth,
let's take it
man.
from the top down. We all agreed Sauce Gardner was a top 5 guy.
Yeah.
They got Garrett Wilson, who we toss back and forth as being the best receiver in the draft. They got Jermaine Johnson, who's probably realistically...
At the end of the day, at the end of this season, he will have more sacks than Thibodeau and Hutchinson. Either one of those two.
I wouldn't argue with that.
That's what I think.
Because of the way
when I
the Jets
watch
defense,
tape on him.
Yeah. And you have to remember, the way the Jets defense is set up, they have so many...
Don't forget, Jermaine Johnson was a Georgia transfer.
Correct.
So he couldn't even get playing time on that Georgia team.
Right.
So that's the big thing.
That's a chip on your shoulder.
He's got a chip on his shoulder,
Yep.
playing in top-level competition, the SEC.
You said Thibodeau's got a chip on his shoulder, too.
Well, Thibodeau's got a chip on his shoulder for not going one.
I agree with that.
That's a bigger chip.
Do you think that
Listen,
really bothers
you know what
him?
the difference in money is from going 1 to 5?
Big.
There's a big money difference there. That number 1 pick signs for almost $30 million for a 4-year with a 5th-year option. Almost 30. 5 picks is millions off.
Mm-hmm.
Believe me, that's enough to piss anybody off.
Sometimes it's not about the money, though.
Oh, it's about the money. It's all about
think
the
these guys
Benjamins.
only really
The
care that
NFL
they
is
got
all about the
drafted.
Benjamins.
I think they only care that they got drafted right now.
Well, okay.
That is what is on their mind.
Why?
The money
Why?
will come
Listen to
in
me.
after.
You just watched 255 guys become millionaires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically,
that
they're all
comes with it.
millionaires.
That comes with it. But I
That's
think
the
the
biggest
fact that you
nut-
could be sitting there and then not go at all
It's
is like,
listen to me. What you just seen was the biggest night in sports. You got 255 guys who just became millionaires.
And at the end of the day, even if they didn't get drafted, okay, big deal. They signed for 3, 4, 500.
They don't care.
Gs.
Right.
Fully guaranteed. Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, even if they don't work out, let's say some of these guys don't even make it through training camp, especially the guys in round 5, 6, and 7. A lot of these guys don't even make the teams, and a lot of people don't realize that.
yeah.
But you just watched at least 150 dudes just become millionaires.
Well, I think for the Lions, the only guy who's not going to training camp is Jameis Williams.
I'm sorry?
The only guy from the Lions that's probably not going to be included in training camp is Jameis Williams.
Okay.
Because
Well, it doesn't matter. He's still a fucking millionaire.
They took 3 guys with ACL coming off of ACL tears. One,
Right.
which is going to come back right
The
before
tight end.
training camp.
The tight end, he was coming off an injury.
Yeah.
And so was Jameis Williams. And who was the other one that was hurt?
James
tight end.
Mitchell, tight end out of Virginia Tech.
Oh,
Yeah, he was hurt. Who else? You said they had 3 guys
Yeah.
coming off an injury.
Either way.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Another
Listen, I just wanted to say one
Oh,
thing
go ahead.
before you go forward. My man, Nakobe Dean, fell into obscurity. That shoulder injury that he had, he decided he didn't want surgery, that he wanted to rehab it and just let it heal naturally. My man plummeted because he didn't agree with the NFL doctors that were telling him to have the surgery.
Okay.
And I don't like that. I don't like that when they're pushing that onto a guy.
Well,
Just so he's ready to go week 1. He wanted to do it his way. He knows his own body. And that's what I don't like about doctors butting in.
that's why
That's why the Eagles took him.
Well, no, that's why I think the Eagles won this draft.
Absolutely.
The Eagles won this draft when they picked him. And I was sitting at home watching it, and I looked at my dad, and I was like, I think we were at like pick 70, like right around when 70 came. I was like, the fact that Nakobe Dean's still there, whichever team picks him is going to win the draft because they are getting top 15 talent at 70 and or 80.
And this is the funniest thing about that. Everybody talks about his size. Oh, he's a little guy. He's this, he's that. I am so tired of hearing that. Some of the best linebackers in football history have been small guys. Sam Mills was a linebacker for the Saints. He was 5'8", 2 1/4 if he was lucky.
Who was your favorite defensive player in this draft?
Mine?
Yeah.
I love Nakobe Dean. I thought he was the best player. He's a signal caller. He's the catalyst of that Georgia defense.
They have Jordan Davis.
Yes,
They took our guy Cam Jurgens,
correct.
and then they took Nakobe Dean.
Exactly.
It didn't matter who they took.
All 3 of the guys I loved, they took.
It didn't matter who else they took after that. They
And I'm
ended up
going to tell you what, dude. I really think that Howie Roseman gets a bad play on him. A lot of these people in Philadelphia don't like him because some of the picks he's picked, and I get some of them. Who's that receiver they took here last year? Or was
Devonta
it the year
Smith.
before? Huh?
Devonta
No. The one the year
Jalen
before
Reagor.
him. Huh?
Jalen Reagor.
Yes. He gets so much shit about that Jalen Reagor pick.
Because he picked him before Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. Who knew Justin Jefferson was going to be the stud he is?
Nobody.
I don't think anybody did.
No, nobody would have expected
Except for
him to
Joe
do like
Burrow.
that. Okay. They ended up coming back and in round 6 took Kyron Johnson, another linebacker out of Kansas,
Right.
who's 6 foot 235.
Yep.
Another small guy. And then they came after that and they took a tight end out of, I don't even, hold on, I have to check.
Like they even needed a tight end.
Right.
Give me a
it
break.
Just, I mean, they
go for depth.
Grant Calcaterra, tight end out of SMU with the 190.
And I actually liked him. I actually really liked him.
Well,
I know who he is. I've seen a lot of tape on him.
So those 5 picks for me,
Yeah.
chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Those top 3, they solidified their defense completely, and we know how good Jurgens is. I love everything about
I
their
am
draft.
so excited to see what their defensive line is going to look like.
Oh my God.
Hassan Riddick,
Yeah.
Fletcher Cox,
Yeah. Jordan Davis.
Jordan Davis, Javon Hargrave.
Yeah.
Do you know how badass their front 7 is going to be?
It's going to be tough.
Oh my God, dude.
That is going to be a
How
tough
are you
one.
going to block those guys? Just the 4 guys that I mentioned. How are you going to block them with 5 guys?
I don't know. I don't know.
How?
You got to double team 3 of them.
You're going to have to keep backs and tight ends in to chip, because if you don't, you're going to be on your back.
Yes, they are going to smash
I'm going to predict this right now. The Philadelphia Eagles will be playing in the NFC Championship game.
Against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I'm not even going to say who, because we don't know who the other team is
Yeah,
yet.
we do.
I truly think they will be there. They're going to win their division. No brainer.
Do you
Unless Jalen Hurts gets hurt and they get Tim Boyle as their quarterback, I really think they'll win their division easily.
I think they'll win the division too, I don't think they're there yet.
They're a few pieces away.
Correct.
They're a few pieces away.
So I think
I love what they did with the receivers. Jalen Hurts got no excuses.
No.
They gave him weapons. He's got it all.
I mean, they went and got A.J. Brown.
Yes. You got Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, and who's the other guy?
This will allow Rigord a little bit more room to get open.
I don't even think he's on the team anymore, is he? They cut him?
No, he's still there.
He's still there?
I want to talk about my honorable mention for best draft. And I think they needed to have a really good draft to stay up with their division, and that was the Chiefs. The Chiefs had a very nice draft.
They quietly got one of the pass rushers that I love.
They took Karl Loftus. They took Trent McDuffie. Then they came around and took Sky Moore at 54.
Yep.
They came back around and took a Cincinnati safety, Brian Cook, who I'm not familiar with.
Is actually a very good football player. All of them. Did you see how many guys went from the Cincinnati Bearcats? Anybody notice that?
A lot.
They had like 6-7 guys go in this draft.
Who?
Cincinnati. The school, Cincinnati.
Oh,
Desmond Ritter.
Yeah.
He looks
Darian Beavers, who
Desmond
I really
Ritter
liked.
Literally looks like he was flying planes in World War II.
Who?
Looks old as fuck.
Who?
Desmond Ritter.
He looks old?
Yeah, have you seen up-close pictures of his face?
Oh, he's just... Look at LeBron James. Well, LeBron James was frickin' 17. He looked like he was 30.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True. So I liked what Kansas City did. They signed a receiver today. Who's the other Ross?
John Ross?
No, the other Ross. Justin Ross from Clemson.
He went undrafted?
He went undrafted and got signed by Kansas City
receiver.
today.
Big receiver.
Yes, but so I guess he's had injury issues, but his first year at Clemson, they had him like going at the top. He had surgery to sit out 2020, returned to play last season, was limited with a stress fracture in his foot. So if he can stay healthy, they got the guy 2 years ago we thought was going to be the number one receiver.
You know who also struggled with that stress fracture stuff is Sammy Watkins. He struggled with that for a long time in his career.
We never even talked about that. He's in Green Bay.
Yeah. I seen that day he had signed that.
Yeah. So
don't think for 1 minute that Aaron Rodgers is going to come out there with his pecker in his hand and not have anybody to throw to. That's further from the truth.
Listen, I hope he gets hurt on the first play of the game, and then he's out.
Walking out of the tunnel.
So,
he'll
go back.
I remember that game. I said that too, and he went out hurt, and they still lost. Yeah. The Lions still lost without him
because they put Aaron Rodgers in that fucking tent. And then they do some mechanical work real quick because he's a fucking robot, and then he's back out on the field. So
there's nobody more
outside of that. What were some other highlights? I mean, obviously Bruce loved what the Lions did. I love what the Eagles did, only having 5 picks.
It's cool. Hey, listen,
I don't care.
Like I said, I didn't have a problem with their whole draft. Excuse me, I didn't mean that.
Well, they did what we did. They did what we said they needed.
Well,
to do.
You know what? I think the team, and I'm going to be honest with you, offensively, they got the best receivers in the North. They do.
Absolutely.
I mean, outside of Minnesota, Detroit is the best receiving core now.
God, they might be on par with Minnesota. I mean, it depends. You don't know what you're going to get. If
Jameson lives up to his potential,
correct,
he will be as good as Justin Jefferson.
Right.
His potential. Not saying he's there if he lives up to it.
You know, Minnesota drafted Jalen Naylor like
way down. I seen that. I see it. And you know what? I like that pick for them because what's his name over there? Thielen. Thielen has some injury issues. He hasn't made it in a whole season. They needed somebody to take his spot.
Right.
He can still carry his weight a little bit, though.
Yeah, but he gets banged up. You know, he misses a
Like
game
OBJ,
here and there
him
because he's not
tearing his
healthy.
Let's talk about Tennessee for a minute. So obviously they traded away their number one receiver. And they went out and got Treylon Burks.
They got a younger version
They got a
of what
younger
they
version
had.
of it. They loved Roger McCreary, as did we. We had him
Oh,
and Trent
God,
Mcduffie.
yes.
Pretty much interchangeable.
Yeah.
So I think getting the value you got at they drafted him at 35. Getting McCreary at 35 when McDuffie
That's
went
a huge
20.
value. That's a
good
huge
value
value.
right there.
These are guys that dropped down that could have went in the first round
Right.
because of need. Teams with other need is the reason why these guys dropped.
Yep. And I think that's why McCreary dropped. Then they went out and got an offensive lineman at 69. Came back at 86, got Malik Willis, which is either going to look stupid or be the greatest. It'll be like the Patriots picking Brady at 199. It's going to go one of two ways.
And they got
I'm
it
still
back.
confused on why
Then they
Tennessee
went-
took him.
Then they went.
Well, because, okay,
It doesn't make any sense.
the biggest two losers personally from this draft were Ryan Tannehill
Yes.
and Baker Mayfield.
Yes.
At the end of the day, Baker Mayfield now, there's a
Sitting on the bench.
really, really big chance you're on the outside looking in.
Well, they already came out and said he's sitting on the bench.
Well, yeah, and
Well,
Carolina's
he's
out now.
not. Listen, he's not starting.
Well, your
Well,
boy
no.
Carson Strong,
Until they figure out what they're going to
He
do with
went
him. He's sitting on the bench.
undrafted.
he went undrafted.
And where did he go?
That was my mistake. Who did Carolina take?
They also got a running
Matt Corral.
Matt Corral.
I'm sorry.
And didn't they take?
They took Matt Corral in the third round.
Yeah, but who's a running back they drafted late?
So Baker
Right.
Mayfield's on the outside looking in now. He was a huge loser, and Ryan Tannehill was a huge loser. They took us on, but the Titans.
I still think that
Took Hassan Haskins.
Mayfield still has a window to play in this league, where Tannehill I don't think does.
No, I would agree with you, but
Yeah.
at this point, where's Baker? I mean, was he going to wait for somebody to get hurt?
Well, they already said they're not trading him unless they get a first round pick. They weren't going to get a pick for him. So basically he's on the outside looking
they're
in.
going to trade him.
Maybe before the
Done.
season starts.
Yes, if you're Cleveland, you don't want that cancer around the locker room.
No.
You just don't.
I wouldn't either.
You know,
I
get what
wouldn't
you
either.
can for him. Maybe you can go out and get
Calling it now. Carson Wentz takes a huge shit. Baker goes to the Commanders.
They invested too much in him.
Don't see it happening.
Well, and they took
Anybody's going to take a shit. It would be like Mariota
who'd
or
they take? I just
Jake,
said who they took.
Drew
The
Lock.
Commanders took Sam Howell.
Yeah.
So I think
They all took quarterbacks. All these teams
Yeah.
that needed quarterback took quarterback.
and they didn't
Except
have
for
to
Detroit.
use any capital on them.
Yeah.
The only people who paid up for a quarterback was Pittsburgh.
Pitt.
That's it. And they still came back and
But they got the
filled their
fifth-year
other
option on
needs.
him.
Right.
So
And they filled their other needs.
I mean,
Right.
I would
They got
rather have
him.
Baker over.
let's say this. Let's say he's not ready this year.
Pickett.
Pick it.
Yeah,
Let's
no.
say he's not ready.
Oh,
It's
You
Mitch
trot
Trubisky.
out there.
that's what I'm saying.
And
All
you know
right,
what?
Trubisky
Okay.
will look good the first 2 games of the year, and then he'll level off to what he is.
You know what?
And then that kid will be playing by week 7.
You know what the beauty of that is?
What?
You're only going to win 4 fucking games with Mitch Trubisky this year, anyway.
True.
So then you're going to be picking top 5 next year, and you
Right.
go out and you just keep building the fucker up, and you
Right.
get that stud O lineman, or you get that stud receiver, or you go out and get the best available offensive player in the draft.
Like Philadelphia
Penny-
did.
right?
Like Philadelphia did this year
Like they did last year.
and this year.
Well, this year they focused all on defense. 'Cause
Right.
They could. And then last year they built that offense up. And this year, I agree with you, Philadelphia's going to win their division. I don't think they're going to be the NFC Championship, but
I do. I think they got the parts to do it. Defensively, they're going to be a juggernaut. They will have that Baltimore Raven dominant defense if it plays out the way it does.
you think
Their back end with Darius Slay is nice, very nice. They were weak at a couple of positions that they addressed in free agency. I really think that their defense is a top 5 defense.
But you agree they need a year or two to get in.
They need a year or two to play together.
Right.
And once
Because, I mean-
once they start playing together and they start knowing what the other guy's going to do, they have potential to really be top 5 defense, period.
Because at the end of the day, Green Bay is still better than Philly. Tampa's still better than Philly. The Rams are still better than Philly. At least.
Well, we have yet to see.
I mean, there's a lot of teams you could be. The Chargers are better than Philly.
Well, that's AFC. We're talking
Yeah, but
We're
you
talking
could
the
just
NFC
you
right
go all
now.
over the board and pick.
And
up.
you know what? I don't think defensively that Green Bay is better than Philadelphia.
defensively, no.
I thought defensively they were better than Green Bay last year.
I agree.
And now look at what they've added this year.
Yeah.
They're going to be a juggernaut, dude. I'm telling you right now. I might have to become an Eagles fan. Shout out to Omar. Shout out to my man Omar. I'm an Eagles fan now.
See, we
could
talk
never say
about
that,
this
but-
now, though, but once season gets around, there's gonna be so many fucking injuries.
I am so
again,
excited to see
that
Jordan
God only
Davis
knows what can happen.
line up. I want to see the first game that he lines up because you know he's going to be fired up and ready to go.
Oh, 100%.
I just want to see what kind of damage he does. And I swear to Christ, if he does what I think he's going to do, I'm going to absolutely kick a hole through my TV.
Two little bits of breaking news here that just hit my phone. Saints give Tyron Matthew a 3-year, $33 million contract.
I had seen that yesterday that they were talking to him.
So that deal's done. And
They needed that. They lost.
Pro Bowl
their
wide
guys.
receiver DeAndre Hopkins is being suspended 6 games for violating the NFL's PED policy.
Jesus
So,
Christ.
you're
Are
at-
you kidding me?
Wait, what's that?
There we go. There we go. You
DeAndre Hopkins, 6-game suspension.
kiss that goodbye. And then they got the problems with the quarterback situation there too.
Performance-enhancing drugs.
Oh,
Steroids. So, there you go. That's
hey,
Like the creatine
the
you
old
eat,
man
Bruce.
needs it, man. It's not a steroid, so well,
Creatine is a
technically,
steroid.
for people who don't go to the gym, yeah, creatine is a steroid, even though all it does is keep water in your body, so it's not an enhanced, but all right.
anyways. So yeah, that's 2 little bits of breaking news. But you didn't really hear all that much out of the Cardinals. I mean,
Well, you know what? I think they're flying under the radar right now
I think
with
so,
their
too.
situation with Kyler Murray and now with this shit here. I'm sure they knew about this before they posted it out today.
I'm sure.
So I think that's kind of why they're keeping it under wraps.
Well, and their first pick wasn't until 55,
Right.
and they used it on a tight end. So
That to me, you signed Zach Ertz.
yeah,
Why would you use that on a tight end? I'm just asking. I'm just asking.
unless you don't have any hope.
Which actually
that he
sucks
can
because
help.
What-
I had Zach
what-
Ertz in
Who was
fantasy
in
last
their
year.
war room that seen a tight end at 55 and thinking that's knowing that you got a receiver that's going to be suspended?
Unless they didn't
Okay,
know.
they had to have known. They know this stuff weeks in advance. I think that's
That
bullshit.
one didn't make a whole lot of sense. How do
Huh?
you feel about Atlanta? They went and took Drake London, turned around, took a BK, then got
I love a
linebacker
BK.
Troy
A
Anderson.
BK is going to be an absolute stud.
Do you know anything about D'Angelo Malone?
No.
Well, they took him at 82 right after they took Desmond Ritter. So, realistically, they could have got their quarterback of the future. They got who was your favorite receiver in the draft, in Drake London.
Drake London.
And you
Drake
loved
One of my
Drake
favorites.
London
Well,
Yeah.
is what Kyle Pitts needs to be. You'll see what I'm talking about
Well,
when you see
those
him
two
playing.
together, my
That might be a duo of guys
yeah.
that obviously they're the tallest. That could be an unstoppable duo there.
I mean,
They need a guy that can stretch the field, though.
yeah.
I don't think Drake London has that speed to stretch the next level of field. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, that'll be the thing.
They need a speedster.
Well, if you
And that's Zacharias,
Zacchaeus,
the
Well,
guy
if
you like.
If you actually play Cordell Patterson as a wide receiver, then there's
Well,
your stretch the field guy.
Well, I think Patterson's really comfortable with his position where Debo Samuel
Well-
didn't like it. I think Patterson thrives on that.
You let
I really
me
do.
right into my next point. What the fuck is going to happen to Debo Samuel?
He wants
Where's
to play
this guy
straight
gonna
wide
end up?
receiver. He doesn't want to be an all-out weapon. He doesn't want it. And that's what Ian Rappaport reported,
Right?
that he does not want to be one of these guys that are going to be running the football, catching it, this, that. He don't want to do that.
So
he wants to be a receiver. He wants to be a legitimate receiver.
Being.
Now, can I ask a question? Why?
I don't know.
Why?
I don't know.
Why? Is it?
I don't. Maybe he's looking
the
at.
pressure was all on
He's
him.
looking at his.
He was
probably
the
his
only thing they
career.
had.
That's true. Yeah.
He's looking at his career as
If you look at it-
longevity wise.
Right. If you look at it from that standpoint, the toll being taken on your body.
Listen,
playing running back
Cordell
and-
Patterson is no young guy.
Team game.
No, that's old. Cordell Patterson's well in his 30s, isn't he? Check.
How many years has he been in the league?
I mean, fuck.
At least
that's
10?
10 years.
At
right?
least 10.
I mean, and he's not a little dude either.
No, he's a big dude.
Yeah. So that's a.
He's probably
the
about
bigger they are, the harder
6'3".
they fall. He's 31, and he was drafted in 2013. So yeah, this will be his 10th year.
What's he weighing there? 215?
Yep.
220?
238.
238. So he put some
238.
pounds on,
Yeah,
which his body could do that.
Right,
Yeah.
he had to beef up a little. I mean,
And how old is he?
31,
31. How long has he been in the league?
2013, so 9 years.
9 years.
Probably
I mean-
since I've started fantasy with you guys.
Every year I used to take him, and you used to make fun of me. You remember that?
Well,
No,
because
probably
You
that's
take
way
Cordell
before.
Patterson?
Shit.
here's the thing. Let's be real.
Up till last
Up
year.
until last year, he was a fucking punt returner and nothing else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'd catch 10 balls a season for 50 yards, and that'd be the end of it. And get one wild double reverse play and score a 50-yard touchdown. That was it.
Yeah.
And then Atlanta finally saw it and were like, "Oh fuck, hold on,
Let's
We
utilize him in a different
this."
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I
So now he's got to deal with a new quarterback
yep.
who actually his skill set fits what they do offensively, I think, better than Matt Ryan did.
Oh,
They do a lot of motion, rollout, a lot of misdirection. I actually think Mariota's skill set fits better than Matt
yeah,
Ryan's
it's a little
did.
more spready.
Well, because Matt Ryan was running for his life getting killed.
Yeah,
That's not his game.
No, Matt Ryan's
Mariota's
a pocket passer.
fast.
Correct. And you want to know what? Desmond
So
Ridder,
is our
well,
Desmond Ritter's a runner too?
that's what I'm saying. Desmond
Yeah.
Ridder sitting behind
They're the same
Marcus
guy.
Mariota for a little
They're the
while.
same guy.
Yes. Yes.
But
So it's the
does
thing in
this
Atlanta-
mean that our prediction of Atlanta being the worst team in the league this year falls through?
Well, those are power rankings.
Right.
So I'm gonna say this. I'm already started working on them, and in the next episode, I'll
Who's
have
going to
them
be
ready.
worse, Atlanta or Seattle?
Right now, I think Atlanta's definitely moving up for me. I'll say that.
They didn't.
I don't know
They
how
didn't address the
much.
linebacker thing.
They did.
I love the defensive line thing they added because they really needed pass rusher bad.
I'll say this. I think Atlanta's going to move up. Seattle might move down.
I think Seattle plays in a really tough division.
Yeah. I mean,
You got the Rams in there.
you're going to lose 2 to the Rams. You'll probably lose 2 to the Niners, and you might split
Right.
with Arizona. I mean,
Schedule, yeah.
this is Atlanta's
No,
schedule.
all
Washington-
the
Oh, it's the teams they play.
to be arranged is the dates,
Right.
but
Yeah, they don't have dates out yet. Arizona, Cleveland. I'm not gonna lie.
Actually, that's
They
not
might
that
win a
hard
lot
of a
They're
more
like
than
a
what you guys
50-50
think.
schedule wise. Yeah. So yeah, I would say Atlanta's probably gonna move up. Seattle's probably gonna move down. But
Well, they're
guess
going to
what?
lose to Tampa twice.
Yeah,
They're going to lose to they play them once or twice?
twice.
They're going to lose to Tampa twice.
They
The
might
Steelers are kind of in disarray. I could see them possibly winning that. They'll lose to Baltimore. They'll
split with
lose to the
Carolina.
Bengals.
New Orleans,
They should be able to beat the Panthers
They'll split with Carolina.
unless Carolina's
Seattle,
back.
Bears.
Well,
Bears, they should
it'll
be able to beat the
interesting.
Bears.
Now, there
You know,
was-
I enjoyed the night that we had doing the draft. That place was awesome, by the way.
shout out to Zeph's.
Zeph's on the
It
water.
was a great time.
That
yeah.
place,
The
if you
docks.
guys got any kind of little function you're going to have, perfect place to do it. The people are very professional. It's a great atmosphere. And you talked about possibly us doing another show there, maybe the opening season, the game of the season.
Yeah.
on that
so
Thursday
It'll
night.
be warm, so we can actually go outside. This
Yes.
here's the thing, and I'll make this promise. If the season opens on a Thursday night, it's always
Correct.
a Thursday night game. if Tampa Bay is not playing in that Thursday night game, because if they are, I'll be there. If Tampa Bay is not playing on that Thursday night game, don't sit here and shake your head at me.
I'm not saying anything.
Well,
Go
if
ahead.
what if it's the Lions?
I'll kiss your bare ass.
I'll be at the
noon
game, so we
if
can't
they
do
give
it
the
either.
Detroit Lions the opening game, but
Well, they got Hard Knocks, so
I don't even know what that means. But okay,
He's got a point.
what do you mean he's got a fucking point?
He's got a fucking point. Detroit's got Hard Knocks. They might be the opening team of the year.
No, they're not going to be.
Maybe.
you never know.
Well,
You don't know. It's usually the 2 Super Bowl teams are.
Thank you. So it'll either be
So it'd be the Rams and
Cincinnati or the Rams. Who
Cincinnati and the Rams.
I don't
Okay.
think the Lions have them on either of them on their schedule this year.
No, I don't.
So
No, I thought they did play the AFC North.
Washington at home, Dallas at Dallas, Philly at home, Buffalo at home, Miami at home,
Well, last year
New
was their
England at
like
Gillette, the Giants at
At
both
the
of yours
Giants.
are
last
away.
year they had more
that's
away games.
that's
This
the
year they
game
have
you
more
want to
home.
circle right there. Is Detroit going to the Giants, and I want to see what Kayvon Thibodeau
and the
does
Jets.
to them. Yeah,
They got to go play both in New York, which we might need to go to a couple of those games, depending on when Tampa's bye week.
I should be
Oh,
at every
God.
Lions game.
this is
so.
life revolving around Tampa Bay.
I'm a Tampa Bay season ticket holder, so
What?
Yeah.
I don't want to. I don't want to
8
hear it.
weekends this
You'll
year.
do that, but you're not a Lions season ticket holder no more. You relinquish your Lion tickets to get Tampa tickets. What kind of
Why would I
Lions
want to go
fan
watch?
are you?
Why the fuck would I want
What
to go
kind of
watch the
Lions fan
every
are
week?
you?
I'm not a Lions fan.
By the way, I did see the New England Patriots on there. You used
At
to be a big.
Foxborough.
You used to be a big New England Patriot fan. I don't see you talking that shit no more.
Where did I go for games last year?
Anyway,
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's a Tom Brady fan. Not
whatever.
I am a
That's
Patriots
gay.
fan, and I would.
It's very homophobic.
I don't know. This year, I feel like I'm a bigger Patriots fan than you are.
Yes, because okay, it takes a true fan to realize when the team is in a bad spot and be disappointed in it.
The team is not in a bad
Yeah,
spot. They have a shit ton of young players.
Yeah, they have a shit ton of young garbage.
I don't know about that. I think they got some really good young players there.
Do they finish better than the Jets do in division this year?
Well, here's the thing: the Jets
Don't
vastly.
Don't give me your long drawn out.
No,
The Jets are
no.
fast.
Yeah, you know what? You know what? Fuck that. No, I am taking the Patriots.
You think the Patriots will finish with a better record than the Jets?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
Yes.
Heard it here.
Can you show me the New England Patriot schedule, please?
Yeah, find their opponents.
I already know they can.
But what? You think they can beat the Jets off of what bias?
Okay.
Mac Jones is going to be on a
All right.
little pink white ass.
All right.
the
They
whole
got.
game.
We know they play
hold on.
Buffalo. We know they play the Jets twice.
At Cleveland, at Lambeau, at Miami.
At Lambeau, at Miami. I'm not worried about that.
Minnesota.
Miami, the Jets.
Cincinnati,
They got Cincinnati at home.
at Pittsburgh.
They got the Bears at home. They'll win that game. They'll beat Pittsburgh.
They got the Lions at home.
They'll beat the Cardinals. They got to play the Raiders.
They
where's
won't-
that
They
at?
won't beat the
Is
Raiders.
that at home?
at Vegas.
That's at Vegas?
At Vegas.
Oh,
Vegas.
shit. And the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an easy schedule. They got a tough schedule.
Nope.
They'll beat the Vikings.
Of course. They'll beat the Lions.
They play the Lions too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we got
In
on this topic.
Foxborough.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, they'll beat the Lions.
But yeah, so the power rankings are going to change quite a bit leading into next week.
I don't think Bill Belichick is inept. He's not Mike McCarthy. You forget about who you're talking about.
No, I don't forget who I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
you
I
do.
didn't say he's inept. You see, this is the whole thing. You only have
I said
one
I
good
don't
ear.
think
so
he's.
you-
I said I don't think he's inept. He's not Mike McCarthy.
I literally, again, because you don't listen, you just talk. I said I don't think he's inept. I never at any point said he was inept.
So why do
I
you
said the
think?
game is changing and passing him by.
That's what he's making you think.
No, stop.
Yes, you're right.
Stop.
It's a
He's just
strategy.
doing what Bill Belichick
It's strategy.
It's strategy.
Stop.
Huh?
Stop.
He's disappointed.
strategy.
He doesn't want Bill. To be
He
good.
ain't gonna take nobody big money. You know Belichick. Come on.
Yes, but when you have the greatest quarterback of all time,
Oh.
it
Oh,
compensates.
God damn it.
It
You had the greatest
compensates
coach
for
of all
that.
time.
Guess what? Brady's got a Super Bowl without him.
Okay.
So when Bill
Yeah, he had to handpick his team like LeBron James. Keep going.
when Bill wins another one, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, but he hasn't bounced around like LeBron has as much.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
He's only made the switch once.
When Bill
That's
wins,
coming again.
when
What?
when Bill wins
I'm going to
another
take
one,
my talents to South Beach. The fuck out of here with
when
that.
Bill wins another one, we'll talk about it. But we'll get to that more next week. Last thoughts on the draft.
I thought it was awesome. I like the exciting part of this. Once that first receiver went, it was bedlam. It was mayhem.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. It's not like the rest of the drafts were boring. You kind of knew what everybody was going to do before it even come. This here, nobody knew what was going to go on. And I'll say this about Jacksonville. They kept that shit under their hat to the last week.
Yeah, they kept everybody.
They kept it under the
question mark on
hat
what they were gonna
to
do.
the last week. Yeah. And that was a smart thing to do. Very smart. I like it. I like it. And you know what? And I hope when we get it here in 24 in Detroit that it's the same way, that nobody knows who's going where.
You want me to be honest? I think, again, this is my thoughts on it. The NFL has never changed as much as it has in the last 2 years.
I was going to say probably 2 or 3.
The last 2 or 3 years, the NFL has changed monumentally, more so than it ever has before. I don't know if it's necessarily for the better or the worse, or that's up for discussion, but
Debate. Yeah.
the way the teams are structured, the way players are evaluated, the way players' values go, the size of the players and their positions, what teams value, the way that it's coached, the style of play, everything about the NFL has evolved faster in the last 2 years than I think it ever has before. And I think the draft in the last 2 years has evolved too, right? Think about the 10 years before this year. It was, we're going to go quarterback, lineman, quarterback. You know, I think it's going to be more unpredictable than ever. Free agency this year was the craziest it's ever been. The draft this year,
I never remember free agency being anything. No. And I've been around this game a long
50
time.
years.
Well, it's also social media is a thing now. So
outside of
that is some. You know what?
it does.
Let me tell you something. Back in the 90s, when you were watching the draft, dude, it was a completely different thing.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Absolutely.
You know, the combine was like nowhere near what it is now.
Like
that has become huge.
the NFL,
the last 10 years.
It's a production now.
Yes.
Complete production. And these teams value that production value. Like they value the sexiness more now than ever. And at the end of the day, it's changed a little bit from we're going to build this thing the boring way and win over time. If anything, free agency in this draft has said, okay, it's balls out. We're going for it right now. There's a lot.
And I think they're all getting that same. Every team is taking that same sentiment that the Rams did.
Yeah.
You know, the Rams are the catalyst. They're the start of it.
Right.
They started that shit. It wasn't just last year. It was the year before.
I mean, the entire AFC West.
Yeah.
You know, the bill, it's changing. And if that in turn,
here's one thing that's
so much more
that
exciting.
Could throw a monkey wrench into this whole deal is if you start getting the young players, the Kyler Murrays, the Deebo Samuels, these guys that think that they're above the game and are demanding stuff or to be traded. That shit needs to be. I don't mind what Cleveland is doing with Baker Mayfield, even though Baker Mayfield was already an established guy, been in the league 4 years. They haven't took that fifth year. Did they take that fifth year option on him? Is that why he's still there?
I don't know.
But if that's the case, they need to get this stuff under control because you can't have guys like Kyler Murray that's been in the league for a year dictate what teams are going to do. You can't do that. Ownership needs to step in. I don't know if the league needs to step in, but ownership needs to talk to these guys and tell them, look, when you're eligible, they need to make a rule. Let's say 3 years in, you're eligible to either sign them or keep it going, or if they want to get rid of them, they can get rid of them. And I think there should be some kind of rule or something in place. I know it kind of sucks because now you're talking about money, and we all know that's what it's about is the money. But I don't see how a guy can come in 1 year, unless you won a Super Bowl, could demand more money. That makes no sense to me.
I just I forgot. I didn't even know what you were ranting about.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be talking about the draft.
I'm
Kyler
talking
Murray isn't
about
on 1 year.
where the league is headed if they're going to allow players to dictate what teams are going to do.
Yeah, but see, that's bullshit.
What?
That's all bullshit. At the end of the day, do I agree with it too? No. But
I'm not talking for. We're not talking about Aaron Rodgers here. We're not talking about Tom Brady. We're talking about a guy who's been in the league 1 year.
I agree.
He hasn't been in the league 1 year.
Sorry?
Kyler Murray's been in the league 2 years, but
he's just had his second year.
I agreed with you.
Yeah.
If you remember, we've talked about this a few times. I come to a realization. That's why. Why?
Why what?
Why are we going to sit here and try and hold them to a standard? Guess what? If you've been at a company for a year, all right, and you want a fucking pay raise, you're going to go get it. If you want them to commit to you long term, you're going to go get it. Just because
it always don't happen that way, though.
Yeah. So then the company makes a decision: either get the fuck out, or we're going to write the check. I have no problem with it. And at the end of the day, the way social media is utilized today, it's a business.
Yes.
Guess what? The only reason we post our shit on social media is to try and get the name out there, get people to believe in the brand.
Right.
They do the same thing. It creates buzz. It creates publicity. It creates the production value.
Okay.
It does. When
you start handling this like it's fucking Hollywood, it's going to crash at the end.
Guess what, baby? Did you watch that draft?
It's going to crash at the end.
We're in Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's
I keep
already have
I keep forgetting that
sculptures of these
everything's
guys.
about culture now.
It's the production value. The
You get
NFL.
canceled.
The
You
NFL.
get canceled.
What?
You get canceled. You fuck up and you get canceled.
Yeah, but that's
They're gonna get canceled.
worldwide. But besides that, the NFL is a Hollywood production, and they're so fucking
Your
good at it.
true football purists don't want to fucking
Guess
see
what?
this
Your
shit.
true football purists are on dialysis, rotting away in a nursing
Oh,
home.
God. Here we go.
Okay? At the end of the day,
Jesus
at
Christ.
the end of the day, there's a reason why people like him and people like me are so intrigued now because of the production value. The NFL knows, again, they're adapting. It's evolving. That's why I think Belichick's
what
a fucking
happens when you-
dinosaur. Anyways, Bruce, before we finish, any last words on the draft?
It was a good time. I mean, it's fun to fucking watch.
It's
I
so
mean,
fun.
It was actually electric, even though I was hammered and barely paying attention. But I mean, it was, dude. I mean, that's all I gotta say. It's a good time. A great time.
I agree. I had a fantastic time. I want to thank everybody who came out again. It was a great night, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it. And like Uncle Sam said, we're gonna try and get some more events like that going. And listen, if you're a listener to the show and you know we're doing an event like that, by all means, come out.
Please come out. Please.
Yep.
You know.
And shout out to Mike Mullins, our photographer for the
Our newest guy, Mike.
He got there right before
Mike is awesome. He's there. He's spot on. He does video excellently. If I can get him to knock a couple 100 pounds off me, I think it would be great.
I don't know if there's
Can you
enough
make me
Photoshop
skinny?
in the world for that. But yeah, special shout out, thank you to Mike Mullins. He took care of all of our video stuff, and
He's the man behind the camera. You guys, he works his ass off.
He's been behind us this entire time taking pictures.
Yeah, so he got us our first YouTube video out over the weekend, which was some live footage from the Draft Bash. So if you haven't yet, go check us out on YouTube. Just search Tip Balls will be the first thing that comes up. And make sure you're subscribed. Make sure the notifications are on so you know when Mike posts our new videos.
We did have some camera difficulties. That's why the quality is kind of low on the first video.
You know what? It's
but that's all right.
Growing
We'll figure
pains,
it out.
baby.
So,
it's growing pains.
We'll get it.
So with that said, all of our podcasts now hopefully will be on YouTube in a vlog format. So that's good. So if you want to watch us rather than listen to us, or you want to watch us and listen to us, go subscribe on YouTube, notifs on, you'll know exactly when it comes out. If you haven't yet,
hit that like button.
follow our socials, Instagram @TipBalls, Twitter @TipBalls, TikTok @TipBalls Podcast. We will be hammering the TikTok a little bit more often now because we learned how to use cameras and all of that. So check us out, tipballs.com. There's blogs, there's merch, there's all that happy horse shit. Again, if you came out to the draft bash, thank you so much. You guys, thank you for your continued support. We're going to keep it coming. This is the dead time now. Draft's over. But we're going to keep coming to you guys with awesome content. And now, this is it. This is the final push. We got like 3 months, and then we're back in full force.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be right around the corner, and we're gonna be working our butts off to get this going here. I can't wait.
What the fuck is this, kindergarten?
Yeah.
Anyways, and we can get into fantasy stuff too.
I'm
Listen
gonna be
to me.
watching Hard
Listen to
Knocks
me.
out
I
here
can't
with Rick
wait.
and Hawk.
We're going to do some fantasy talk. And by the way, I'd like to just give a special shout out real quick to Jeff Fisher. I owe him a huge apology. They won yesterday, and they won big.
Oh, Jesus.
24-0.
Oh, great.
Michigan Panthers, baby. I love the Michigan Panthers. Love their colors.
Thank you so much for listening. You'll hear from us next week.